Hi guys, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. If you are new here though, I recommend you check out the first video, which kind of explains who I am and why I have a channel here. So, if you're new here, go check that out, and then come back, and we'll wait on you. You done? Alright, let's get started. So, let's start off with my weekly follow-up. This week was a week of separation anxiety for me, which is odd considering I haven't had that in a very long time, not since I think middle school. So it got increasingly harder for me to say goodbye to Nick, my fiance, in the morning when he was going to work, even though we work at the same place. We work in two different departments, but it was just hard, and I don't really understand why. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on that just to see if it continues, and if it does, maybe to look into some treatment on it. I don't know. It's weird. But otherwise, stressors didn't get really bad until like Thursday. So my job is customer service. So for those of you out there that work customer service, customers are customers. They can be real jerks sometimes, and it's just part of the job and you deal with it. But Thursday started off with me and Nick making our payments on our honeymoon. We're going to Disney. But Disney was having some issues with their website, which isn't their fault by any means. But instead of charging me once for my payment, it charged me 4 times for my payment, which took about a third of my paycheck, which is pretty stressful. And it took up until lunchtime on Thursday for them and my bank to fix it. So, and me being on the phones all day, I really can't step away to check on it. So that was worrisome. And then there were, stressors with dealing with wedding stuff and dealing with family stuff. And it all just kind of piled up into me having an anxiety attack and a panic attack at work. And it was a little embarrassing, to say the least. But I don't know. It all kind of worked out by the end of the day, and Friday was a much better day. I made my appointment to go buy my wedding dress, and that's super exciting. I'll be buying that in November. And me and Nick went on a date, and we haven't been on a date in a while because as engaged people, you kind of forget that you can go on dates still. So that was really fun. And it kind of made up for a hard week. So, now on to the main discussion of this video, what anxiety is and what it isn't, coupled with the myths behind anxiety. So, what anxiety isn't? Most people in life get nervous or anxious about a big test, flying, any real big event in their life, and that's normal. And for lack of a better term that I'm going to use in this video, normal people can talk themselves down and out of a panic attack or anxiety attack really easily. So once it's done, it's done. They don't have any more nerves. They've talked themselves out of it. And it's fine. They can forget about it and move on. However, what anxiety is the people that can't forget. So I'm going to be looking down a little bit in this video just because I don't want to misquote any research that I have. So the definition of anxiety. People who suffer from anxiety disorders do not respond to fear or natural stressors in a healthy or normal manner. Additionally, people who suffer from an anxiety disorder cannot control the manner in which they respond to these stressors. So, let's break that apart a little bit. We cannot control the way we respond to stressors. That would be your anxiety attack or panic attack. because, as a lot of us know, you can't control it, and they just kind of come and go as they please, and not always at the best time. So they just happen, and those can be hyperventilating, those can be picking at your skin, they can be anything, and sometimes they can just be sitting at your desk jittering like I do. It's not always hyperventilating and rocking in a corner. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that a panic attack or an anxiety attack doesn't always look like what you see in a movie or a show, or, you know, what the media portrays it as, really. Sometimes it's just, it doesn't seem like anything at all, but inside it is a full-on battle in your head. So that's kind of what anxiety is, in a very, very general sense. Now, anxiety is not just a one-size-fits-all disorder. It's not kind of like asthma is, or when you pull a muscle or anything else. It's not that straight treatment plan that, you know, you give everybody. It's not a Band-Aid fix, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. Anxiety kind of shows up in very many different forms. You have generalized anxiety disorders, PTSD, you have specific phobias, there's a panic disorder. It shows up in very many different ways and is caused in very many different ways. However, what I want people to understand is you're not a worrier or a worrywart, which is what a lot of people tend to tell us that don't have anxiety. Now, I'm going to pop up some brain scans here and here of anxiety and depression. And as you can see, your brain lights up different parts when you're having anxiety, similarly to when you have depression. And it is a chemical imbalance in your brain. It is not you just worrying. It is not you just overreacting. It is your brain reacting in an abnormal way, or just the way your brain functions. And that's kind of the need for medication. However, I will be going over medication in a completely separate video, or else this video would be 20 minutes long. But as you can see, anxiety is not all in your head. It is a physical, chemical imbalance that I think a lot of people don't seem to understand when they hear the word anxiety. They think it's just you overreacting, and it's not. It is a physical issue with your brain. And while it's not a severe issue, it is an issue, and it's something you can't help, which I feel like a lot of people don't understand. And it's what I'm trying to get across here, is that it isn't something that you make up, and it isn't something you can control or help, because it's your brain reacting in a different manner than other people's, normal people's, which I don't like that word at all. So I hope very much so that this helps you understand kind of what it is and what it isn't. And alongside of that, on the depression side of it, anxiety and depression don't always go hand in hand. You can have anxiety without depression, and you can have depression without anxiety. And I feel like that's something a lot of people don't get either. I'm one of those people that has anxiety but doesn't have depression. However, my anxiety can cause days where I feel depressed. However, I am not diagnosed with depression, if that makes sense. So anxiety, for those of you that have it, know that it is a very exhausting thing to go through. And it can give you symptoms of depression, where you're tired and you don't want to go anywhere, and you don't want to get out of bed, and you feel like you can't get out of bed. And it's just kind of how it works, and it can be confusing because you start to wonder, oh my gosh, am I going through depression now that I have anxiety, so I must be depressed, because they go hand in hand. They don't, and they don't necessarily always do. So what I encourage you to do is to be very open with a therapist, a counselor, or even your doctor. When I first got a diagnosis with anxiety, I talked to my actual physician, my family physician, about my feelings, and she was able to help me find a medication that was right for me. Before that, I talked to a physician at my university, and he was the one that got me started on medication, which wasn't the best choice, but that's a topic for another video. But I encourage you to be very open with a medical professional, because they are a true tool in figuring out what is going on inside your brain. And there's no shame in it, really. They're there to help, and they're there for a reason. That's their job. And your doctor doesn't just care about your body's well-being, they care about your mind's well-being as well. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that your regular doctor, your regular physician can help you with this as well. So I encourage you that if you're going through this, to talk to your doctor, and they can help start a treatment plan. And it doesn't always mean immediately going on to medication. Sometimes they recommend a good counselor first, or a good therapist, and that's a good stepping stone. So if you're going through this, please talk to somebody, even your parents, so they can help you get started with a doctor, and it'll truly change your life. So if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to comment below, and I can help you as best as I can, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. So please like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that every YouTuber tells you to do, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!